Alright, I'm going to try and, without being too random and too all over the place, go back over chords one quick time just to give you, we put a video on here about chords and the shapes of chords, different ways to make the shapes of chords. Just going to try and give you something that might simplify it just a little bit more. If you'll notice on your top string here, your G string, the every one of these is a note, right? You got A flat, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, so forth, and so on. Anywhere on there you can make a chord with that note. So this is the A note, right? The second fret on the top string. We're going to make an A chord. An A chord, or any chord, is, for lack of a better way to put it, it's basically made up of 3 notes. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we'll say 7 notes in a scale. So if you start with A, well, let's start with something simple because it's just to make it clear in your head so we don't have to go into sharps and flats. If you go with C, C doesn't have any sharps or flats in it. So you have C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then of course back to C. And so you have basically 7 notes in a scale, in any scale, whatever it is. So to make up a chord, you have to use 3 of those notes, and 3 of those notes will make you a full chord. So you use your 1, your 3, and your 5 to make up that chord. Most of you probably already know this, but just kind of be patient for just a second. You have C, then you got D, E, so you got your C and your E, F, and G. So you got C, E, and G. Your 1, 3, and 5. So if I say this is your 3 or your 5, then you'll kind of know what I'm talking about. And you really don't have to know whether it's a sharp or flat, as long as you know the pattern. So to make a C chord, it's made up of the C, the E, and the G notes. So I'm going to come up here on my mandolin, I'm going to come up here to the C note, alright? And if you'll notice, the one right directly below it is always going to be your 5. So it's always going to be part of that chord. So if I'm mashing this, and this is the root note of the chord I'm playing, which is C, I can always mash the one right up under it and have part of the chord. So now that we know that, let me just show you how to make the chord. You mash both of those, and then you skip over a fret, and on this one it's going to be on the 7th fret on the 2nd string from the bottom on your A string, and then you come with your pinky on the 8th fret on the bottom string. So you have this mash, the top 2 strings, and then you come over, you skip a fret, and you have this pattern. And this is basically, this is your 3rd, and then back to your 1. So you have a C, right up under it, a G. This finger's going to be your 3rd, so it's going to be an E, and this is going to be back to your C. So I have made a chord using all 3 of those notes, and I've started with this top string. So if I want to make a C chord, I'm using those 3 notes, and that's the pattern for it. I've got this finger kind of out of the way so you can kind of see. So anywhere on this top string, I can use that pattern and make a chord out of whatever note I'm on. So if I'm back here on A, I make that same pattern. Remember, the one right up under it is the 5, so it always goes with it. Skip over and then make the 3 and the 1 on the bottom. So anywhere on here, I can come up here to a D, a B, B flat. Anywhere I want to on here, come up here to an E. Let me do it like that, maybe you can see it better. How about that? See that alright? Good. Alright, so on this top string, anywhere on this top string, as long as you use that pattern, you're making that chord. Okay. I know it's pretty simple, just again, this is for simple people like me. You can also do that with a second string. Let's find out how to make a pattern for the second string to make a note on that. Alright, so we're going to come down here. Let's just go to our G. That's a G on the 5th fret on the 5th fret on the second string. So we know wherever your root chord is, we can go to the one below it, right? And we can also skip back one and get that note. And then we can come down here. I'm just trying to be quick so I can get it all in one thing. So that's a pattern. So whatever note this is on, this is your root note, okay? So if I want to come up here to an A, I do that. I mash the one right up under the root note, and then I skip over one on the bottom. Alright, on the second down here, we're going to make a pattern. Let's make a pattern with the E. Okay, we know if that's your root chord, we know the one right up under it goes with it. We know the one directly above, and just that way is the 3. So you got the 3, the 1, and the 5 all together. Okay, but we need another one to kind of make a full chord, because that don't sound right, does it? Alright, so I'm going to switch up my finger, and I'm going to put my pinky and my ring finger right there, and then put my index finger back that way one. Hold on just a second. I'm sorry, I had to get the computer going back again. And so that gives you whatever, if you have a chord that you want to make out of a note on this second string. Now the bottom string, if you noticed when we made a C earlier with this pattern, that and that is the exact same. Okay, so I can make it like that, but let's vary it up a little bit. Let's get a more familiar pattern. Whatever note on the bottom, you can put your root note there. Say we want to make a G, so I'm going to put my middle finger there, and I'm going to go ahead and put that, and then this is your basic standard way of playing a note. Okay, I know that's very simple, but maybe that kind of explains how you make a chord out of a note on every line or every string. Your G, your D, A, or your E strings. There you go. God bless.